welcome to the program. How are you today? It's great to be with you. The week for me was equally busy. I'm sure same for you. Particularly now that Christmas has come. You have no choice. Those of us who think that we can wish Christmas away. It can't be wished away. Christmas will come. You like it or not. Just as I told you last week, those women who sell market these Christmas items, they'll be ringing their bell and be shouting, Christmas can't be shifted. It can never be shifted. But this year, I don't think I had the jingles on the streets.
No, not yet.
They
not
still
yet.
don't want Christmas to come. I will use I'm Wale Ogunade, I'm the host of this program, and I'll use this opportunity to introduce my co-host, Rose.
Yes, my name is Rose Blossom. It's good to be here again on Voters Forum. Today is definitely sure going to be interesting because we have Zoom guests and we definitely will be having a live guest too. And don't forget, we're streaming on all our social media platforms at Galaxy Television on Twitter and on Facebook. You can also download Galaxy Television app from Google Play Store or Apple Play Store. So please send in your text messages during the course of the program so that you can be part of the show. You're welcome again.
Yes, you are welcome. Before we move up, I just want your reaction. Why is it that people don't want Christmas to come this year? The jingles are not playing, the carols are not sung, the decorations are not anywhere. Everywhere just they dry. What's happening, Rose?
You know,
you are a woman,
yeah,
but I can see some splash of red on you.
The truth of the matter is, as the last year, some people were still complaining about Christmas. But you see the way this year is going. I don't know if Christmas dates cannot be shifted, but obviously we are not seeing anything happening. And it's because of course, the high price of rice, of chicken. And I'm saying some people might have to take swallow this Christmas day. I'm not right.
The Yorubas will say, making fun, they pain person.
Oh, yes.
And we can say, as if they pain them.
Yes, no.
Well, I just know that definitely it's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what. You know how God does things and how Nigerians react. Next week now, you start, in fact, this Monday, I'm sure, you start hearing and seeing. And of course, the commercial on the television too, you see. In fact, it's interesting that all these things are not there. When we were young, Christmas is something
of course,
to look
from 1st of December.
Meanwhile, maybe as a lawyer, we lawyers have something we call getting an order to stop. A mandamus or something like that. Maybe we'll go and get an order shifting Christmas so that the High Court judge will just give an order.
Is it even possible?
Yeah, once more, you're welcome to the show. Today we are looking at something interesting. It's the second leg of what we brought last week, is the arms of government. Last week we looked at the legislature. Today we'll be looking at the judiciary. And we have brought, I told him, and I'm sure you heard me, that if he's able to make such wonderful presentation that he made last week, today we'll make him a professor automatically. That's between me and you, don't let him know, so that he will not stress himself. But be that as it may, very soon we'll bring him on. That's our colleague, my comrade, my friend, Debo Adeniran. We'll talk together. We're going to explain one or two things about the workings of the judiciary vis-a-vis the government as it were. But before then, let us look at the mini. Let's watch the mini future. Then when we come back, we'll get cracking. I'm going. It's a very important arm of government. People, particularly the politicians, and we lawyers, we call the judiciary the last hope of the common man. I handle matters where big men, our government institutions, oppress ordinary citizens and even big men equally. And we use the judiciary to get justice for them, ensuring that that step that they take is null and void, or it is illegal, or they have taken what we call self-help, taking the laws into their hands. All these things are issues that our colleague will discuss with you. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. Comrade Debo Adeniran, are you there?
Yeah, thank you for having me here.
I trust you. So, since you are with us now, quickly, just do an intro from your own side of what you had the mini feature. The judiciary, before we ask if they have lived to expectation, to you, what is the judicial arm of government? You have discussed the legislature, the legislative arm with us last week. The judicial arm. a short intro, then we'll now go into the meat of it.
Yeah, thank you very much. The judicial arm of the government is that arm that interprets the law and ensure that justice is dispensed through courts. And the courts actually divided into many parts. You have customary, you have magistrate, you have state high court, you have federal high court, you have appellate court, you have Supreme Court. But in between them, you still have tribunals, just like you have code of conduct tribunal and some other arbitration institutions. Sometimes you have a special court set up for a particular purpose, and that is why a lot of people are asking for special court to try corruption cases and all that. By the way, today is the World Anti-Corruption Day, and it is really opposite to believe that the judiciary or judicial arm of government in Nigeria will have a rethink about how to engage in internal cleansing so that the whoever is corrupt amongst the judicial officers and those who are saddled with the task of dispensing justice will not turn justice to merchandise, where the highest bidder will get justice and those who have shallow pockets will be the victims of judicial gymnastics. And definitely, judiciary is the reason why we have checks and balances that will check the executive, check the legislature. In case the legislature itself makes a law that is not in tandem with the provisions of the Constitution, the judiciary will have to, if anyone is slighted and approaches the judicial arm of government, the judiciary will tell them that, look, they didn't have to go to the extent they have gone. And the same thing with the executive. If executive executes, powers that they don't have, or they overshoot, their bounds in the course of performing their duty, the judiciary will tell them that, look, you have to tread softly and move back. And as a matter of fact, they determine, the judiciary itself makes certain laws, especially at the level of Supreme Court. So when judgments are given at the Supreme Court, it automatically becomes law. And the precedents set by other courts also can be cited as items that should be followed by all the other arms of government and citizenry. And like you said, the judiciary is supposed to be the last hope of the common man, but not in all cases, because we still have the Nigerianness, within the judiciary. So basically, we cannot say wholeheartedly that the judiciary is the hope of the common man. Sometimes the judiciary forces the common man to engage in self-help, just like you have said. And that is when it comes to the level of we no go green. And we don't pray for that.
I don't want you to go there because that's your area. But be that as it may, please, this internal cleansing, I guess we should just take it up from there.
Exactly.
How can we go into this era of internal cleansing by the judiciary?
Thank you very much.
Maybe you add, we lawyers too are part of the judiciary. If there is maybe, if you think the lawyers too are culpable in this misnomer, then please, let's quickly hear you.
Yes, usually the lawyers, the judges, and court workers belong to judicial arm, and that is where you have judicial, JUSUM, those who work in the judicial arm of government. They also have a union. So all of them belongs to what we should refer to as judiciary. And the way to sanitize it is for the National Judicial Council to be up about and doing in performing its oversight function on what judicial officers are doing in the temple of justice. The lawyers, of course, all of them are lawyers. Judges, justices, and court registrars, many of them, all of them are lawyers. That means that the MBA and the body of benchers, apart from individual lawyers who have made names for themselves and who didn't want to destroy that name, have a lot of job to do. I mean, those individual lawyers who have been maintaining a good name over the years, the body of benchers, the National Judicial Council, the JUSUN, and all of them, will have to look inwards and see, why should we allow our profession that has been touted to be a kind of sacred profession that determines the life and death of citizenry be tainted with all these corruptive tendencies, whereby the sinners will go scot-free and the victims will be punished. So the way to do it, the NJC in particular, should not wait for petitions before they send, observers, those who will hold what they believe at various courts, and they will have to include technology, allow technology to monitor whatever is going on in various courts. These technology recordings or footages or whatever will be reviewed from time to time by a technical panel that will see whether or not the procedure, the regular procedure that will ensure that justice is done at various courts is done, is followed. And when they find out that any judge or justices or magistrate or whoever is involved, is culpable, without waiting for petitions from litigants, should just discipline them. Then
Yes.
court workers, the registrars themselves, they allow so much laxity, where those who are in charge of filing cases would demand for so much before they even append the court stamp on the processes that is being filed, and the rest of them. Lawyers also know this. Lawyers also pay these unauthorized fees at the level of court. That means that everybody that has compromised their standard and pay monies that will not go to the national, treasury, is also culpable. Is supposed to be seen as an accomplice in the perpetration of corruptive, exercises at various courts. That is the beginning. Then sometimes lawyers themselves, in collaboration with some court workers, even change the content of judgments. Sometimes they deliberately arbitrate facts that are contained in certain judgments. And when you get through copy of the judgment, it will be significantly different from what the judge or the justice has read in the open court. These are some of the areas that the judicial officers have to look into. The NJC have to look into it. The NBA have to look into it. As a matter of fact, the NBA should utilize its internal disciplinary mechanism to ensure that any of their members that is found to have perpetrated such an act that could bring, dishonor to that honorable profession should be shown the way out and should be handed over to relevant anti-corruption agency for proper prosecution and punishment. The same thing with judges and justices. You know what happened to Mohammed? What is the former Attorney General of the Federation, Andrew Aka? You know what happened to him? You know what happened to Masaya Wokuleye, the trial judge in the case of Ibori in Delta State? You know, a couple of them have been disciplined indeed, but then there are still several bad eggs within the judicial council, within the judicial system, not the council anyway, within the judicial system that needs to be shown the way out and be made to, as deterrent, and be given punishment that will serve as deterrent to others who may think that perpetrating corruption is part of the profession of lawyering.
Is that right, Debo? Thank you, Debo. You deserve to go and take some water. Thank you, Debo.
Comrade, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you. You deserve to go and take some. You deserve to go and take some water. Then you come back. You want to become a professor by fire by force, Abi? This is your professorial teaching. It's serious, though.
You know, breaking them
bit by bit to the understanding of. If I mean, you know, like he's teaching me, and like he's
trying to get you to understand.
So of course, this is 301 political science.
Yeah, it's good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, comrade. And of course, we have an in-house guest, which I will be introducing, and that will be Barrister Fred Ziako. He's a public affairs analyst and, of course, a legal practitioner. Welcome to the show, sir. It's good to have you again.
Thank you.
It's been a long time. We have two fires in the house today. We have one from Zoom and one in the house. But of course, before we would say Barrister should join in the conversation, we would like to go on a very short break. And after that break, definitely, we'll hear the points, of course, that Barrister has for us in the studio. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. Like I said, we have Barrister Fred Ziako in the building. And of course, from the judiciary angle, the arms of government, we will want to hear what Barrister has for us today. And of course, we're talking about the internal cleansing of the judiciary system. What's your reaction to that, Barrister?
Yes, before he goes there, my friend is looking like an Owambe, typical Owambe man. Are you coming from an Owambe?
Or you're going for one?
Or you are going for one with this your Abiola cap?
You know, this is the season. I'm not only that this is the season. I woke up and remembered my good friend Masoud Abiola, so I decided to adorn his cap.
It's all right. It's all right, because I remember when we were in the struggle too during those June 12th.
Yes.
He gave me one. Because I was a little bit close to him. I was a small boy then, but he likes my agility. My
yes, your vibrations. Yes. I had very close interaction with Masoud Abiola, so I can never forget him. Yes.
So the judiciary, self-cleansing, let's take it away from where people left it.
Well, the judiciary, I'm sure that my good friend Debo would have, and you in studio, would have explained to our people the importance of judiciary as the third arm of government. You know, I call it governmental trinity: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. 3 in 1, equal in composition, equal in power, but working in synergy. Yet different in different approaches, and that is why that trinity is very important in every democracy. And the spotlight today is on the judiciary, which is the bedrock, whether you can call the bastion, the fundamental bedrock of democracy. Of course, in every environment where the judiciary is not available, of course, that means it's not a human environment. Not only that judiciary has been there from ages, in fact, from the creation of man. Whatever historical account of man that you have, they are most from origin. the judiciary has always been there.
God was the first judicial officer.
Officer, the first.
When he was interrogating and of course sentenced
Adam, yes, you know. And when Adam was put on the dock, and he had to give an answer.
You know? The lawyers. He put Adam in the dock.
Of course, he was in the dock, and Adam gave a very funny answer. Adam, where are you?
He looked at his wife.
No.
It's the woman you gave me.
Yeah, you gave me. So he tried to pass the buck. So he don't take. He don't take. Buck person don't take.
Yes.
But then judiciary will always pin somebody on the spot, and then be able to administer justice, administer punishment where it is deserving, and also administer applause when one merits the applause. So it's a very important arm of government, extremely important, that no matter the type of government that is in place in any country, there will always be judicial system.
Yes.
Whether it is democracy, monarchy, dictatorship, authoritarian, military, any manner of government, as long as there is human being interacting with another human being, there will be judiciary. And even in the folklore, if you begin to talk about the folk tales in the villages, even in the animal kingdom, they have a quasi judicial. They have a quasi judicial system where the tortoise, the tortoise will always play the greatest advocate of all times. That tells you, that underscores the importance of judiciary in a human environment and human interaction. Now, in Nigeria, the question has been, how well have we managed this very important institution? Good. That has been the question. How well have we managed it? How well has it fared in dispensing justice? Because the basic significance of judiciary, the basic role of judiciary is to dispense justice. And justice is
to whoever,
without any wavering, without any fear, without any favor, without any wavering, because justice is constant. Justice is a straightforward, like steel. You don't bend it. Any attempt to bend it, you will break it. It doesn't bend. And that is why it is very important that in every human environment, especially in a civilized environment that we have in Nigeria, the judiciary must not be allowed to be toyed with. Must not be allowed to be toyed with, and will not be allowed to be manipulated
or influenced.
Because the very moment you begin to influence it, you are indirectly influencing the course of justice. Yes. That justice that we said cannot be bent. Then in influencing the judiciary, you are trying to bend that course of justice.
Let me just, before you run away from there, there is this principle of stare decisis.
Yes.
Can you quickly explain it? Because that's the bedrock of judiciary. If there is no stare decisis, and of course there is no precedent, then everybody will do whatever he wants.
Yes. You know, because like in Nigeria now, let's now be a little academic. In Nigeria, we have, and indeed in most other jurisdictions, in most other countries and environments, you have layers and of judiciary. You have layers. Here we have the magistrate court, we have the customary court, we have the high court, we have even the Sharia court.
And the customary court.
And then we have customary court of appeal, we have Sharia court of appeal. We now have the Court of Appeal itself, and you now have the Baba of them all, the General Overseer of all of them. That is the Supreme Court, the one you call the Apex Court. That once you have gone there and come out, you are going no other place except you kneel down and communicate with Baba God. So because of these levels and tiers and hierarchy of judges, it is assumed rightly too that the one that is higher will take authority over the one that is lower, such that if something is done in magistrate court and it is not done well, you go to high court for correction.
Yes.
If something is done in high court and is not done well, you go to court of appeal for correction. If you go, something is done in court of appeal and you feel it's not done well, you go to Supreme Court for correction. Along the line, there is what we call precedence. Whatever the Supreme Court has said is binding on all the courts below it. Whatever the Court of Appeal has said is binding on all the courts below it. That is the doctrine of precedence. Such that we will be able, not every time we begin to reinvent the wheel, we'll be able to say, oh, this thing has happened before. Similar thing has happened before. This is the way it was decided. Now that this one has happened, it will follow the same pattern. It will follow the same pattern. Oh, Mr. A stole the fowl of Mr. B, and he was given 3 months imprisonment. If Mr. C steals the fowl of Mr. D, you know that 3 months imprisonment is waiting for him. Because the other one who stole the same fowl was given 3 months imprisonment. And that is why you can say that law is a bit predictable when similar issues happen that happened before happens again. All right? Then, under that same doctrine, you now begin to say, oh, there must be an end to adjudication. Litigation, there must be an end. Oh, matter started from magistrate court. They were not happy and they went to high court. After the high court owned, they were not satisfied. They went to court of appeal. After the court of appeal, somebody is not satisfied. You go to the Supreme Court. After Supreme Court, whether you are satisfied or not, you must go home.
There must be an end.
No, there must be an end to adjudication. There must be an end. You know, there must be an end to adjudication, so that one will not spend the entire life moving from one court to another. And if having gone through all the steps, somebody is still not satisfied, then something must be wrong somewhere. And then, of course, along the line, the fellow will either be satisfied or be forced to be satisfied. And that is the human environment that we are.
No, I just want us to, because there are 2 or 3 things that Debo, our colleague on Zoom, has dropped.
Yes.
And I want us to see if we can trash it within the next 5 minutes
Yes.
before I bring Debo back. The first one is, you are not really giving us, within 1 minute, can you talk about self-cleansing in the judiciary? Let's start from we lawyers, then we go to the judges, then the judicial officers. He has really...
Self-cleansing in judiciary involves every human being. Let me say, let's use Nigeria as a case study. If we want to cleansing our judiciary, everybody must be involved. When I say everybody, we lawyers must be involved by making sure that we are not only defending the interests of our clients, we are also, above all, defending the interests of justice. Because the basic thing is justice. Basically, is justice. So if you are...
So in essence, we say lawyers are to promote the rule of law.
Promote the rule of law.
Shikena.
And if your client is at fault, you should be noble and honorable enough to tell your client, you didn't do this thing well. No? Let us see how we are going to, we can manage the situation, beg the other side or beg the court to give you a lesser sentence or pardon. If the other side can pardon you, or if you can, we can pay atonement, all right, for plea bargain. That is atonement for your sins. So I mean that takes care of that. But when you see blue and you are calling it black,
because
I'm wearing blue and you're telling me that this my dress is white or black.
Let me be the lawyer. You have a
and this is blue and you're telling me this is black.
You have a splash of black.
so you should tell me that this is blue, but it is not well made by your tailor. All right, let us go and see how the tailor can mend it. That is, you are talking about rule of law and justice. Now, on the side of the judicial officers, because they are the most important and the most critical, there's always this lure and attraction to acquire wealth. Ill-gotten wealth is never good for any human being, and every judicial officer is not only trained and must train himself or herself to know the wealth that is ill-gotten and avoid it. Because any ill-gotten wealth like bribery is like leprosy. Once you put in your hand, it will chop off your fingers. they chop off your fingers. So once they see issues about bribery and corruption and ill-gotten wealth as leprosy, they will run away from it and be contented. And that is why somebody who is not contented cannot be a judge. Somebody who lacks that natural contentment, that ability to be satisfied, cannot be a judge. Yes, cannot be a judge. And if he tries to be a judge, he will expose himself to ridicule, and somehow nature will fish him out and he will be ridiculed. And if that happens, you now begin to look at the other community. The people themselves who are the litigants. Why would you want to go and bribe a judge? Oh, because you have the money. You want to subvert the will of justice. You want everything to go your way because you are Superman. You have money, you have wealth, you have power, you have influence. Forgetting that as men, human being, we have accountability to our Creator, the ultimate judge. All right? And that is the preaching, and that is the sermon that everybody will continue to say. You that you are the litigant, approach that court with a mindset of justice and a mindset of rule of law. And the security officers themselves, because they are the ones. How can police come and arrest somebody on flimsy accusation and throw the person into the jail because he was unable to pay certain amount of money, a bribe? That's why I say it involves everybody. And then when all of us look at justice, look at nature, because nature derives its strength from justice. When we look at justice, because the Holy Books told us that we are made in the image of God to dominate the world and be above every other animal. And that is why the human being is the most intelligent animal on earth. So if you now look at justice and consider the will of nature, the will of creation, then you will now find out that all of us as human beings are answerable and must work towards justice and rule of law.
Great.
Beautiful and well said.
You just landed very well. You'll be pilot, or you have pilots in your family. You just landed very well.
Thank you.
Comrade, I'm sure you had my colleague here in the studio.
Yeah.
Comrade.
Yeah.
Yes, I trust you that you are there. Now that he has really made several submissions, and one of them that I really like is that he is in line with your issue of justice as a merchandise. That is the core. Because I like his intro too. To me, how can we now take justice away? That's self-cleansing. You didn't really give us a good inroad into it. Please, just within 5 minutes, because I'll give you 5 minutes, I'll give you 5 minutes, and we'll round up. Please, so that we'll not yank you. I know you are a tough man when you become a professor. So that cleansing itself is because if we're able to cleanse the judiciary, then we'll now know that everybody who goes to court, we hear judicial pronouncement, you say yes, it is true, it is good, no hanky-panky. But you hear judicial pronouncement coming out these days, and everybody, you'll be hearing several things from even we lawyers, several aspects, several views from we lawyers. How can we stem such situation? I wanted to take it first as an outsider before I land it with Barrister Ezeako, who is an insider.
That's right. Thank you very much. In every case that goes to court, you usually have 3 lawyers. 1 on the bench, 2 in the different sides of the bar. And sometimes there's a conspiracy among the 3 against the people, laymen like us, who they believe will not see what they are doing in their closet. But then the way to sanitize the judiciary is actually to start from the NBA, like I said the other time, that the internal disciplinary mechanism that will look at the ethics of legal profession and the what other aspect of it, the professionalism, in legal profession should be upheld. And MBA, everybody in that association should see their profession as a noble profession, as a profession that is supposed to continue to enjoy the dignity that the profession deserves. And the way to do it is to also maybe introduce technology into how cases are argued in courts. Because given it, I mean, in fairness to judges, if there are no adequate, witnesses, adequate evidence, then there's little the judges will adjudicate on. And if all evidences are open and witnesses testify in open courts, everybody will be watching. And if technology is also monitoring, the NBA and NJC should go back to their closet to analyze what has transpired. Even if a lawyer is able to bamboozle everybody in the law court, the judges and the lawyers will know that something is actually amiss and it is not awesome. They should invoke the provisions of their own disciplinary measures, withdraw licenses with which fraudulent lawyers are practicing with, derobe the judges, and ensure that they are tried for whatever crimes or maybe offenses they have committed while practicing that profession. And if they become perpetual stain on the profession, they should not be allowed to continue. They should be removed from that profession. In other crimes, you talk about, I mean, my colleagues there talk about plea bargain. Yes, plea bargain is good, but it's not enough. Because if plea bargain were to be admitted, the offense committed, if it had to do with embezzlement or stealing of large sum of money, the criminal should be made to refund everything that he has stolen, first and foremost, before we now engage in plea bargain over the issue of stealing or of corruption, the way it is, or economic sabotage, or whichever pigeonhole it falls. Okay, but he should not be allowed to enjoy the proceeds of the crime. And those lawyers who also target the proceeds of crime from those who have stolen so much, and because of that, they offer to represent them and charge them heftily, should also be made to answer for the reason why they took so much from a thief, and why they believe they should defend, like you said the other time, they should see something that is white and call it black when all other lawyers are still watching. If such cases are not tolerated, then to a very large extent, judiciary should have been sanitized more than 90%. But when lawyers know that they only claim that they are performing their duties as a lawyer, even when you are defending a criminal, when somebody was met, killing somebody, and you say that, how are you sure that he's the one, or that he's saying when he was doing it, and so on and so forth. Just like they say somebody killed another.
The great prof. The great prof.
The insanity can also be dealt with according to
Comrade Prof.
So basically,
Comrade Prof.
you choose insanity. Yes, sir.
Comrade Prof. Don't worry. You want to overshoot the wrong way. Don't worry, we've confirmed professorial chair on you. That seat you are sitting is not a professorial chair. Don't worry. A professor of political analysis on Galaxy will give it to you. You have earned it. So, unfortunately, the way I see it will continue is you are making the topic interesting by the day. We want it to reduce it. You are expanding the scope and you are making it so interesting. I'm sure maybe, of course, we will have another arm next week, which is the executive. And I'm sure you'll be with us. Please create room for us so that one now, you are still interim prof.
Interning.
You are still interim. You are not confirmed. Let us see what will happen next week. So, Barrister Isiako.
Yes.
In rounding up,
again, he has made a serious allegation, which I know some people, some lawyers are been accused that they promote this plea bargaining because at the end of the day, some stipends or some things go to their pocket. I like what he has said, what Debo said, that they should, if any amount it is stole, everything should be collected from them, taking them from them. They will now start, if they want to plea bargain now, it will be their jail term.
Yes.
Not the money that they are stealing.
Not the money, not the financial aspect of their crime. You know, yes, I agree with that. I agree with that, but to some extent, it may defeat entirely the whole essence of plea bargain. Because the whole idea is to save the state time and resources of prosecution.
Yes.
So if that is the whole essence, and the fellow now feels that every damn thing he stole will be taken away from him, he may not agree to plea bargain.
Then you go to jail.
Then he may not go to jail, because what it now means is that he will put in his very best in terms of representation.
That's what Comrade is saying.
In terms of representation to free
somebody has stolen.
To free himself.
I don't want you to talk like a lawyer.
To
here.
free himself from
to
free himself from going to jail.
I don't want you to talk like a lawyer. I want you to talk like a comrade too.
Yes.
The comrade said, and I appreciate him, that this man has stolen. How about they gave you a budget, or of course the budget in your office of 500 million, and you stole everything. People are suffering. People are dying on this in town, either because the roads, the medication, or the infrastructure you are supposed to provide with that state fund was not done. People's blood are already on you. Then the money that you are supposed to spend has now gone to your pocket.
Yes.
Automatically, it should be forfeited.
I agree completely. I agree completely that such money should be returned or recovered 100%. I was only advancing the fact of the other side, the implication.
Yes.
If you now make it in such a manner.
Okay.
Yes, I agree that the financial aspect of the crime must be recovered completely, so that the punishment side of it will now be the only one to be bargained.
Okay.
All right, to be bargained.
Because you know, in other clients, particularly in Britain,
yes,
lawyers who manipulate the system go in with their client, as it were.
It should be the system in all climes. It should be the system in all clients. After all, like in Nigeria, of course, you know that our law is tailored after English law.
Yes.
So if they call their lawyers out when they manipulate the system, Nigerians should be able to call their own lawyers out when they manipulate the system. But of course, that is why we're saying that it's a case of all hands being on deck.
Yeah.
But now, the issue of sanitizing judiciary does not start and end with lawyers.
Yes, you said that some few minutes ago.
You know, recall that he who pays the piper often dictates the tune, or tries to dictate the tune in most cases. How does the judiciary get funded? That is the critical aspect of it, which by the time you discuss the issues about the executive, that is where you have to really bring out that fact that for the executive to be the one funding the judiciary, the executive now places itself in a position to be inalienably needed by the judiciary. And in which case, a case of rob my back and rob your back comes into play. And that is the corruption aspect of the whole thing that we are talking about.
You are just telling me you are a forensic barrister, but the way I see you make presentation, you are a pilot. You just land safely, no stress. Anyway, by the grace of God, my brother Izako will be taking off from there next week.
Thank you.
I hope you will not be going to the village by next week.
I
think you are in the village. You will use Zoom. You come and stand on River Niger.
No problem.
You come back to us. Because I know that there is
no problem.
Full network on the Niger.
Oh, of course.
Just park one corner.
You know.
They always go by on Niger.
No problem.
Now been open.
No, if I'm around, I'll come to studio. But if I'm not around, we'll do Zoom. No problem.
That one is settled.
No problem.
I just want us to enjoy.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Barrister, for coming, and also thank you, Comrade, for actually joining us. Like you said, you're interim prof, right?
Yes.
So anyway, thank you so much, our viewers, also for joining. Next week we'll be discussing, like Barrister said, another part of the arms of government, and which will be the executive, which we agreed on. So yes, you'll be learning so much more. As you can see, we did ask so much questions, but our guests always do a very good judgment to every of our topics.
Yes.
So don't miss it. My name is Rose Blossom. Next week, you join us again on the Photos Forum.
Yes, I really want to appreciate our guests, and the only way I can do it is by a clap offering, because what they have done this session last week, by Comrade took every one of us by storm. Nobody had the temerity, because the guy was not there. Everybody was glued to the television listening to what he's saying. When he too, I'll call him a professor, but I won't give you because he's just starting now. So a barrister here, he too is coming to join the program. So has really helped people sound. They have not been able to send text messages. It means that indeed you people are enjoying and you are following the issues we are discussing. And for your information, these issues are for your own education.
Yes.
For you to use it, for us to have a better Nigeria. So what we want from you is to begin to see this thing happening in your various communities, for you to begin to action it. Don't allow anybody to lead you by the nose anymore. Just as one of my brothers normally say, let our mumu stop. Like he says, Abi, our mumu don't do. Let our mumu don't do. So again, my sister, my co-host has already thanked you. There's no need of thanking you again than to say, I wish you all a happy Christmas in advance.
Yes.
Both all of us in the studio here and all of you viewers out there. Don't worry, this Christmas is going to be enjoyable. Don't mind people who don't want to jingle the bell, those who do not want to carol the song, those who don't want to put on the Christmas trees on the streets. This week you will begin to see things happen. Before then, have a great week. And my regards, of course, to the management of this television station. They have been so supportive, and we pray that God will continue to strengthen them. Have a great week.